This trap was so brutal that entire species vanished because of it, and it was invented by hungry cavemen with nothing but rocks and rope. What did they build? You're standing on the mammoth steppes of Ice Age Europe 40,000 years ago. The wind cuts through your furs like stone blades. You're facing a 6-ton woolly mammoth, a walking mountain of meat, fur, and ivory. Your spear, a sharpened stick. Your odds? You'll probably die before the mammoth even notices you're there. This is the reality. Winter is 3 weeks away. Your tribe is starving. You need 10,000 pounds of meat to survive the winter, but everything big enough to feed you is big enough to kill you. The math is simple and brutal. Hunt successfully, or watch everyone you know slowly starve. Your weapons are pathetic. A thrown spear bounces off mammoth hide. Getting close enough to stab means getting close enough to die. The mammoths always win. The woolly rhinos win. Even the giant elk, 12 feet tall at the shoulder, antlers like tree branches, can cave in your skull with one kick. But then, someone has an idea. Not a better weapon, something completely different. What if you didn't fight the animal at all? What if you made the landscape fight for you? The first trap is crude but revolutionary. The pitfall. You find a game trail near water where mammoths travel every few days. For 2 weeks, 20 men dig. The pit is 15 feet deep, 12 feet wide, lined with sharpened stakes at the bottom. You cover it with branches, grass, snow. You scatter dung around the edges to mask human scent. Then you wait. 3 days later, a juvenile mammoth, only 3 tons, approaches the water. You're hidden in the rocks upwind. One hunter throws a stone. The mammoth startles, pivots, takes 2 steps backward. The ground collapses. The animal drops, crashes onto the stakes. The screaming starts. It takes 4 hours to die. You have meat. You have victory. You have proof that brains can beat size. But there's a problem. Each pit takes weeks to build. You can only catch one animal at a time, and if the herd changes its route, all that work means nothing. You need something bigger. But this is just the beginning. The cliff stampede changes the game completely. You're not targeting one animal anymore. You're targeting the entire herd. 50 hunters spread across 2 miles of grassland, forming a loose crescent behind a mammoth herd. It's late autumn. The animals are fat, slow, preparing for winter. They're grazing near a river valley that ends in a vertical drop, 80 feet of sheer rock above a boulder field. The signal comes, torches ignite, 50 voices scream as one. You're running, waving burning branches, beating hide drums, creating a wall of fire and chaos. The mammoths panic. They run, not toward you, away from you, which is exactly what you want. You're hurting them. The crescent tightens. The cliff edge is a 1/4 mile ahead. The lead mammoth sees it, tries to turn, but the ones behind are pushing, stampeding, blind with terror. The first one goes over, then 3 more, then a cascading avalanche of fur and flesh and ivory. The sound is thunder mixed with breaking trees. Dust rises in clouds, the ground shakes. You reach the edge and look down. 12 mammoths, some dead on impact, others broken, dying, crying in voices that sound almost human. Your people climb down, stone knives flash, blood runs in rivers. 12 mammoths from one hunt, enough meat to feed 100 people for months. You've just invented mass killing. But was it too effective? That question doesn't matter. Not when winter is coming. Not when your children are hungry. What comes next changes everything. The deadfall is the moment we stop being hunters and become something new. This trap doesn't need you to be there. It kills while you sleep, while you eat, while you're miles away hunting something else. Here's how it works. You find a narrow game trail through dense forest. You cut down a massive tree, a log weighing 2 tons, and suspend it between 2 standing trees using rope woven from plant fibers and animal sinew. Beneath the log, you build a trigger, a platform of branches held by a single support post, baited with salt licks and fresh vegetation. When an animal steps on the platform, the post breaks, the log drops. The engineering is brilliant. The consequences are terrifying. Because this trap doesn't care what it kills. A mammoth triggers it, dead. A woolly rhino, dead. A cave bear just passing through, dead. The trap kills everything, stores nothing, wastes everything except what you can harvest before scavengers arrive. You build 5 of these along a 10-mile stretch of river. In 1 month, they kill 18 large animals. You can only butcher 7 before the meat spoils. This isn't hunting anymore, this is industrial slaughter. You've become so efficient at killing that you're killing more than you can even use. And then comes the day that proves just how deadly we'd become. His name is Kesh. He's the best tracker in the tribe, and for 3 weeks he's been watching. There's a narrow valley 15 miles north where the river cuts between 2 granite cliffs. Every autumn, a mammoth herd migrates through this valley. It's the only route that avoids the high ridges where early snow makes travel impossible. Kesh has counted them, 47 mammoths, maybe 50, an entire bloodline traveling together. The valley is perfect. The walls are too steep to climb. The river is too deep to cross. There's only one way through, a corridor 300 feet long, 30 feet wide. Kesh sees what no one else sees. This isn't a valley, it's a killing box. He brings the idea to the tribe. 40 hunters volunteer. For 5 days, they work. At the valley's far end, they build a massive deadfall. 10 trees cut and suspended, each weighing a ton or more, positioned to fall in sequence and block the exit. Halfway through the valley, they dig 3 interconnected pits, each 20 feet across, covered with branches and disguised with dirt and grass. At the valley entrance, they stack dead wood and dry brush, fuel for the fire that will drive the herd forward. Everything has to go perfectly. The mammoths have to enter at the right time, in the right formation. The fires have to push them, but not scatter them. The timing between traps has to work. One mistake here, and it's over. One mistake, and 40 hunters die. The herd appears on the evening of the 6th day. They're moving slow, cautious. The matriarch leads, a massive female, 12 feet tall, tusks curved like crescent moons. Behind her, the entire family. Bulls, juveniles, calves staying close to their mothers. They funnel into the valley as the sun sets. Wait, something's wrong. The matriarch stops. She's sensing danger. Her trunk lifts, testing the air. If she turns back now, everything fails. Kesh gives the signal. Torches drop into the brush pile. Fire erupts, smoke billows. The mammoths trumpet in alarm. They surge forward, into the valley, away from the flames. The trap is sprung. The first pit opens beneath a young bull. He drops, screaming. 2 more mammoths stumble into adjacent pits. The herd panics, stampeding toward the far end. This is where it gets dangerous. The hunters are in position on the cliff tops, holding the ropes that suspend the deadfall logs. Kesh is screaming timing calls. Hold, hold, wait for the center mass. The mammoths are 50 feet from the deadfall, 40 feet, 30 feet. The entire herd is compressed into the kill zone, shoulder to shoulder, nowhere to run. Now, 40 hunters cut 40 ropes. 10 massive logs drop simultaneously. The sound is catastrophic. Bone cracks, skulls shatter. The logs hit with enough force to kill a mammoth instantly. But there are so many animals packed together that some survive the first impact, only to be crushed by the bodies falling around them. The air fills with the wet crack of breaking bones, the screams of dying animals, the smell of blood and terror so thick you can taste it. The dust clears slowly. The valley floor is carpeted with bodies. Kesh climbs down. He starts counting. 47 woolly mammoths, some killed by the pits, most killed by the falling logs. A few suffocated under the weight of their dead family members. 200 tons of meat, fur for clothing, bone for tools, ivory for trade. Enough resources to feed the entire tribe for a year, maybe longer, but there's a cost. One hunter, Kesh's cousin, was too close to the cliff edge when the logs fell. A rope backlashed, pulled him over. They find his body among the mammoths. And there's another cost, one harder to measure. Kesh looks at the valley floor, at the mountain of dead animals, and feels something humans haven't felt before. Not quite guilt, not quite pride, something between triumph and horror. They've just killed an entire family group, an entire generation. He wonders if mammoths will ever come through this valley again. They won't. And what happens in this valley will repeat across every continent humans touch. These traps are too effective. The pitfalls, the stampedes, the deadfalls, they kill faster than populations can recover. In Europe, mammoth numbers collapse. In the mammoth steppes, hunting camps show layers of bones. Hundreds of animals killed at single sites, again and again, year after year. The archaeological record at Przedmosty in modern-day Czech Republic shows the remains of 1,000 mammoths, killed over just a few centuries. The pattern is global. North America, Europe, Asia. Wherever humans develop sophisticated trapping techniques, megafauna populations crash within millennia. Within 5,000 years, 70% of large Ice Age animals are gone. Woolly mammoths, woolly rhinos, giant elk, cave lions, the short-faced bear, gone or driven to tiny refuges where they'll eventually blink out. Climate is changing, yes. The Ice Age is ending. Habitats are shifting. But climate alone doesn't explain extinction rates this steep. We do. We became too good at killing. But here's what the traps did to us. And this might be more important than what they did to the animals. Building a sophisticated trap requires abstract thinking. You have to imagine an animal that isn't there yet. You have to plan months in advance. You have to engineer weight distribution, trigger mechanisms, kill zones. You have to coordinate dozens of people toward a goal they won't see results from for weeks. This is when human cognition makes the leap. This is when we learn to reshape entire landscapes for our benefit. The trap builders aren't just hunters. They're the first engineers, the first architects, the first people to look at the world and say, "This isn't good enough, we'll change it." We became the apex predator, but we also became responsible for what we destroyed. The mindset that built the deadfall is the same mindset that builds cities, irrigation systems, factories. The traps changed. Now they're concrete and steel instead of wood and rope. But the core impulse, bend the world to human will, no matter the cost, that stays the same. You've just witnessed the moment humans went from surviving to dominating. The moment we became the most dangerous species on Earth, and the price the natural world paid for our brilliance. If this story made you think, become part of the tribe. Hit that like button. Subscribe to explore more moments that made us human, and share this with someone who needs to understand where our power and our responsibility comes from.